everyone, Tula here with Key Wellness, and today I'm going to be talking a little bit more about manifesting and using your reticular activation system in that process of drawing your dreams to you. Now, in a prior video, I talked about cross-country skiing, becoming an Olympic hopeful, and getting my dream career. I'm going to throw out a few more examples very quickly about how I used my reticular activation system to draw some other things to me. Later on in my life, I was living the dream, right? I had that wilderness career. I was loving it, working outdoors, living outdoors, traveling to parks all over the place, and it was everything I ever wanted it to be. And at one point, I moved to another part of the country, and when I got there, I thought, oh, this is great. I think what I really want at this point in my life is either a log cabin or a little Victorian cottage back in the woods. Now, I'm not exactly sure which. I would love either. I wanted to do that whole French country thing or the cozy log cabin tucked away in the woods. And so I was in a little town and I thought, okay, this looks like a great area. So I just, on a whim, walked into a real estate office that I saw on the side of the road. And I said, I know this sounds like a far cry, but I love this area and I would love to buy a home here. So what I want is, and I gave a little bit of a laundry list, but the key things were that I wanted some acreage around it, and I wanted either a log cabin or a Victorian cottage, something that I could do the whole shabby chic thing with. And so I told the realtor, I said, I know that it's kind of a far cry and I know it'll take a while, but let me just go ahead and give this to you. And when you find something, give me a call. I walked out thinking it'll be a few months before I hear from her. Well, 2 weeks later, this woman contacted me. And she said, I found the perfect thing for you. Turns out she found a log cabin down this road, which you needed four-wheel drive to get down this road. Perfect for me, because I'm a hermit. And what had happened is this man had built this log cabin for his fiancée, and then they broke up before they married and moved in. And he was so heartbroken, he never wanted to see the cabin again. And so he sold it to somebody else. They didn't know what they were doing. He had like an LP, a propane type fireplace inside. And the person who bought it did not know how to operate it, did something, almost burned the place down. Anyway, smoke filled the place. So the whole place was like stained from the smoke and the soot on the walls. But other than that, it was like brand new. And so she took me out to see this place, and I was instantly in love. It was everything I wanted. This was a living room and a kitchen with a nook, and then there was one bedroom and a bathroom, a laundry room, and it was on acreage, tucked way back in the woods. And I thought, it was a log cabin with a wraparound porch, and I thought, wow, this is everything I ever dreamed of. Again, I gave her two options. I didn't lock anything into this house or it must be like this. I just said, this is what I want. This is what I dream of. I had it in my mind. Obviously, this is something I loved, I dreamed of. It was very much alive in my psyche. And then I handed that to somebody and said, find it. And when it came to me, I did not hesitate. I didn't second guess. I didn't, I just said, that's it. I want it. Yes. And despite all the things that it needed, I knew that that is what I had asked for. And it was right in my price range, which was really, really low because, I was a park ranger. Remember, I didn't make a lot of money. But because it had sat empty for years and people were afraid of all the soot and the story that went with it, and the longer it sat, the less desirable it became because then people became more afraid, rumors started, and no one would buy it. So the price just kept dropping until it was in my price range. And here I bought my log cabin in the woods with acreage, and I was set. Now, the important thing that I want to point out here is that I gave the woman two options, either a Victorian cottage or a log cabin. But I was sure that I wanted a small cottage size house. I wanted acreage and I wanted it remote. And this little place foot the bill. Now, I will say it was some time ago, but with acreage, to be able to touch something like that for under $50,000 was still a really hard call. Yet it happened. And this is the thing, when you put that intention out there, the universe, God, source, whatever you want to call it, will work things out when you keep your focus on what it is you want, when you speak it out there, when you put the energy. And again, I haven't gotten to reticular activation system yet, but you put it out there and then you let it work out. Now, there was nothing wrong with this house, but people were afraid of it. And so how this worked to where it came into my price range, I didn't need to get more money to get it. I didn't say, let me get lots of money so I can buy a log cabin on acreage. Instead, I just said I want a log cabin on acreage. And what the universe, source, God, whatever you want to refer to it as, found a log cabin and then brought the price down to me. Brought the price, made things happen in such a way that it was doable for me. So what you do is you set that intention out there and then you let it go. Do not worry about how it will happen. Just know what it is you want. And then when it shows up, don't second guess, because you put that intention out there. You start second guessing when it comes to you. That's like communicating. That's breaking the feedback loop, because what you're saying is, nah, that doesn't work. You put that out there. If you reject it when it comes back to you, you've broken your own feedback loop and you've created confusion. Now you've broken that cycle and you will have to make up all of that lost momentum. So when it comes, do not second guess it, say yes. And that's the important part. So let me fast forward to another time in my life now. I still own that cabin. I had gotten married. Then my husband had died. Now I was a widow. And suddenly here I am with 3 kids. And the home, the main home, had been lost because the life insurance wouldn't pay. So now I've got this tiny cabin, 3 kids. We've lost our main home. I'm young, the kids are small. So here I am trying to figure out how I'm going to make this work. So I set an intention. The life insurance company wouldn't pay. I hired some attorneys and we ended up settling. A few months had gone by, we ended up settling. I got about 1/4 of what was supposed to be paid, and I thought, wow, this really isn't going to do anything. Certainly wasn't enough to save the home, even though it had already been lost to foreclosure. And so I said, wow, it's a drop in the bucket. I don't even know if I can put an addition on the cabin, but this will have to be our home. And so once again, I knew exactly what I wanted. I drew it up. I drew pictures of what I wanted. When I got the settlement, I thought, wow, this is never going to pay for it. But sure enough, there you go again. I had the intention and I found a builder and he said, wow, I've been wanting to build something like this. I think I can do it for just a little bit above cost for you. And I've got a great deal. I can match your log with log siding. I can match your logs to make the addition on your house look the same, match it. And so he built this amazing lodge for my kids. I'm talking, they each had a huge bedroom. They had their own living room. They had their own kitchen, separate bathrooms, a fireplace, like a stacked stone fireplace. And then there was this great big room in between the two that connected the log cabin to what we called the lodge. It was big enough for a pool table, ping pong table. There was a loft in it. It was amazing. It was amazing what this guy built. And he charged me a ridiculous amount of money. I'll be honest, it didn't even cost me $70,000 to have this thing built. And so anyway, so here we were with this amazing home when it was done. Plus, over the years, I had bought more land. So now I had this huge lodge. I mean, it was big now. 2 kitchens, 2 living rooms, 4 bedrooms, 2 fireplaces, 3 bathrooms, this big game room, and on and on. And then we had acreage, we had a pond, there was all this stuff. we had bought horses because one of my kids was interested in horses. So we bought horses, we built barns, and we had this amazing piece of property. Well, my one daughter that liked horses got increasingly interested in rodeo. And she said, hey, it would be really cool if I could have more horses. And so we toyed around with the idea of, hey, I wonder what it would be like to own a ranch. And I thought, wow, this is nowhere near the size of a ranch, but how much money would I need to buy a ranch? And so I set this intention of, let me see if I could buy a ranch. Now, the thing about setting intentions and the thing about manifesting, have fun with it. Don't make it life and death. Whenever these things happen, it's usually, this would be really cool. Because the universe, God, source, however you want to call it, likes to play. It has a sense of humor. It's out for adventure. So let your life be an adventure through which it can experience life on planet Earth. That's the best way I can explain it at this point. And so be open to the adventure. And so I said, I wonder, let's just see. And so autumn comes around one year and I say, let me go ahead, take some really cute pictures of the place and put it up on Zillow or something like that. So let's see, how much does a ranch cost? I'm probably going to need anywhere from $500,000 to $750,000 to buy a ranch. Now, I haven't even spent $100,000 on this place, but I'm just going to go ahead and put it out there and see if I can get, half to $750,000 on this property so I can buy a 100-acre ranch. Once again, having a little fun with it, set the intention, don't get too attached to the outcome, and then hand it over to the universe. So autumn, I put the pictures out there, the Thanksgiving comes, Christmas comes, New Year's comes, and now it's January the next year. I'm back at work. I'm sitting at my desk. I have this dream job, right? I'm working in the wilderness, but I get to office from home. And so I'm sitting at home and my phone rings and I pick it up and this woman on the other end, almost panicked, says to me, oh, please tell me that your house is still available. Excuse me, what? And she goes, your home, are you still selling it? Please tell me you're still selling it. I'm like, I guess, sure, yeah, why? And she goes, we want to buy it. We want to buy it so bad. Turns out this woman's married to an exec at BP Oil, and they were looking for a beautiful log place to entertain guests for hunting. They wanted a hunting lodge, and they saw my property. Well, I had my property listed. This is a property I didn't even spend $100,000 on, and I had it listed for more than 4 times what I paid for it. They bought it. They paid my asking price, no questions asked. I accepted their offer. Then I panicked. I was like, I just agreed to sell this place and I don't know where we're going. And so once again, I called a realtor and I said, I need to find a ranch. I need to find a ranch for sale. I want, 75 to 100 acres. It's got to be a house this big for my family. We have horses now. We want to get more horses. We need a barn. And we needed to do it post haste, right? Because closing's coming up. I've already signed the papers. She found it. It was about 80 acres. What had happened is, with the original owners, the man built the house, had a heart attack, never moved in. His wife moved in as a widow, did not want to stay there, sold it. This next woman bought it. Shortly after she moved in, her husband died. And then as she was widowed, she also wanted to get rid of it, could not sell it. Then she, after a few years went by, she got engaged. Now she was going to move in and was desperate to sell it. And she had already gotten rid of her cattle and everything. And she just kept dropping the price. Once again, just handed it out there, said, this is what I want, set my intention, had my vision, and it came to me. Found this ranch, and it was a crazy low price, beautiful, set back away from everything. Anytime somebody came to the ranch, they were like, I had no idea all this was back here. Once again, it was just an intention that I set and just was kind of a, hey, let's have a little fun with this. Let's see if we can get a ranch. Let's see if we can sell this place and get enough money to get a ranch. And we wound up raising horses, raising gun dogs. We had sheep, we had goats, we had chickens, and we had a great life there for a while. And then finally, we had decided years later, when I finally retired from my career, that we wanted to move back to the East Coast. So once again, I set the intention, and I was on my way to a legal meeting that was going to release the funds for me to buy my home. I had been looking, and we decided what we wanted was a large piece of property, but we weren't ranching anymore. We wanted enough land, and we wanted multiple homes on the property. We wanted a pool. We wanted certain things. And I was kind of particular about the architecture I wanted on my retirement home. For one, I wanted something with columns in the front, kind of a very traditional look, if you will, high ceilings, something older, that it wasn't quite Victorian, but I would have gone for Victorian. But it was the house that I never got years ago when I went with the log cabin. And so this is what I wanted. Well, I'm on my way to this meeting. My phone goes off. A house pops up just the outside of the house, and darned if it isn't right in my price range once again. Another story of another house that had been abandoned and a widow trying to unload it. The price dropped. We ended up buying almost 10 acres with multiple homes on the property, the swimming pool we wanted, the architecture I wanted for the main house, which is mine, gated entry, circle drive. There's even a fountain out in front. I went for something completely different than what I had before, but this is what I wanted in my retirement. Now, go back. I'm now in my 60s, but go back to when I was 17 and I made that first decision that money did not matter. I lived for passion. I lived for adventure. I lived for the gusto in life. And here I am now. I've got a fountain in my front yard, and I'm looking out over a beautiful lawn and this beautiful porch with spiral staircase and brick flooring and big columns and all of that. And my kids have their own other houses on the property, and there's a pool here and other outbuildings, gazebos and things. There's a big rose garden, and I could go on. But my point is, never lived for money, never lived to buy status, never lived for these things. I just set an intention, said let's have some fun with it. The energy that you'll hear people talk about that I matched was the energy of, hey, life is a big adventure, life is grand, life is fun, embrace it, seize the day. That's the energy that wins. And it's brought me opportunities, it's brought me jobs, it's brought me homes, it's brought me vehicles, it's brought me horses, it's brought me lifestyle, it has brought me so many other things. And then I would set my intentions. But those intentions were, this is what I want, this is the vision. Now, universe, go at it. Go do your thing. Bring it to me. And when you bring it, when it sits in front of me, I will recognize it and I will say, yes. And so you can too. You can say yes to all those great things that you want for your life. You just need to get started with a dream and a vision. So here's to your dreams and your vision. It's Tula wishing you all the best. Have a great day.